Hello, I'm Dr. Nicole Stevens, Director of Clinical Research at doTERRA International. I've been a scientist for more than 20 years, and I worked at doTERRA for many of those years. I am excited to talk to you today about the science behind one of doTERRA's most influential supplements, Lifelong Vitality. We're going to talk about what Lifelong Vitality is, how it was created, and some of the science behind it. The Lifelong Vitality program has been around since almost the beginning of doTERRA. It is a fundamental piece of the doTERRA wellness lifestyle. The Lifelong Vitality Pack, they're the core products of the program. How many of you take the Lifelong Vitality Pack? Or how many of you have considered it? And then how many of you are hearing about it for the very first time today? Regardless of which group you're in, I hope that you will come away today understanding just how important it is. When the Lifelong Vitality products and program were first formulated, we wanted a product that would fit a healthy lifestyle philosophy. At our core, doTERRA has always endeavored to empower people and families to be able to better care for their health. But we've never taken away responsibility for doing our part too. In the Lifelong Vitality program, it's still incumbent on each of us to manage health care and lifestyle steps. We just want to make them easier. Now, at the base of the doTERRA lifestyle pyramid is eating right. Though Lifelong Vitality fits maybe primarily in this category, it will never replace your need to eat and provide a healthy diet for your family. In fact, we've designed Lifelong Vitality to surround and fill in the dietary gaps, provide things you may not be able to easily get in your diet. And this can help empower your health, just as we empower your health care through our essential oils. Now, of course, exercise, that next level up, is critical for keeping the heart and other tissues healthy and maintaining a healthy metabolism. The next level up, resting and managing stress, allows our bodies to reset and recover after the activities of each day. This is a critical part of maintaining vitality. Reducing our toxic load. What is toxic load? We'll talk about this more in some depth, but basically, breathing in exhaust at an intersection, over-consuming sugar, alcohol, or really any other concentrated substance. This can be too much of any one thing that can often result in toxicity. And of course, at the top of the pyramid is informed self-care and the help of professional medical providers when needed. Lifelong Vitality, as we go through some of the science behind it today, can help with multiple of these categories, in fact. Probably most importantly, as we've mentioned, as a supplement, it can fill in some nutritional gaps. So most people think of Lifelong Vitality there on the bottom of the pyramid. But as we will discuss, it can also help our bodies produce natural energy to support exercise, balance systems so that we naturally sleep better, and help reduce our toxic load that builds up each day. LLV, Lifelong Vitality, is an excellent addition to a healthy lifestyle. In formulating Lifelong Vitality, we wanted a product that was science-backed. This has been a hallmark of everything we do and have done at doTERRA. We exhaustively review each ingredient in Lifelong Vitality for its clinically supported benefits. Every claim we make is backed by a body of science and research. We understand how each ingredient works in the body, how much is needed to make a difference, and why it will help you feel better. We love our science, but we always apply it on behalf of the health of our people first. So, let's talk about some specific ways that Lifelong Vitality can benefit a healthy lifestyle and the science behind how each of these things functions in our health. We'll talk about aging, oxidative stress and inflammation, and how Lifelong Vitality combats each of these. We'll talk about energy production and how Lifelong Vitality can help increase this naturally. Hopefully, by the end of the presentation, you'll have a better understanding of this unique and amazing product, and you'll see how it might benefit you and your family. What is the main challenge we all have to deal with? Aging. Like most things in the universe, we have a life cycle and will eventually grow old. But does that automatically bring with it sickness and loss of ability? Maybe not. Here are the most common phrases that we often hear from family, friends, and loved ones as a result of aging. Do any of these ever apply to you? Have you ever said these to someone or heard someone say them to you? Especially if you find yourself going in the wrong direction or this list just keeps getting longer for you, you might wonder what you're doing wrong or maybe how you can reverse this direction. Put simply, the main concern we're all trying to avoid is a chronic disease that starts too early and lasts too long, and may even lead to death. We call this process morbidity. But if we can make a change now to our lifestyle, we may be able to compress that morbidity, moving it to a short period at the end of our lives and pushing out the end of our lives even further. This gives us more time to enjoy different periods of our lives, regardless of age, and we do so with health. If you could be doing something right now that influenced you positively at this time of your life and influenced your future, would you want that? It sounds like a good plan to me. Now, when it comes to aging, let's talk about lifelong vitality starting at the very basic level of life. All health begins really at the cellular level. If you go smaller than that, you're into stuff that makes up other things, but an atom or a molecule is not complex enough by itself and doesn't meet the basic requirements of life, which are growth, reproduction, functional activity, and continual change. Though we are far more complex than a single cell, it is at this level that our organism fundamentally operates and where all that great functional activity happens. Unfortunately, aging is happening in all that functional activity too. Here's what is behind all those symptoms of aging. Oxidation and inflammation are tightly linked. Too much of one always leads to the other, and sometimes in a never-ending cycle. Let's talk about each one individually for just a moment. Oxidation is a common process you're probably familiar with. Apples turn brown, metal rusts. We live in an oxygen-rich environment, which encourages this process. But what exactly is oxidation? This is a process that happens on an atomic level when an atom or molecule loses an electron. Other things too, but we'll start there. This is not a good thing for most molecules. It makes them unstable and forms what we call a free radical. A free radical is an unstable molecule with one or more unpaired electrons. These unpaired electrons actively seek for another electron to make up that pair, often stealing one from another molecule nearby, which can change its structure and can destroy its function. Even worse, free radicals can cause chain reactions, where one molecule steals from another, which steals from another, and so on and so forth. Cellular damage can occur. The whole process is a significant source of risk for our health and our aging. Now that you know where it all comes from, what does it do? This creates a condition we call oxidative stress. When you experience oxidative stress, there are 4 main categories that result. Until I learned this principle, I really didn't know why I might get sick more often sometimes, was more grouchy than usual sometimes, or just plain didn't feel as well. Now you know this may be coming from this oxidative stress. Now there are 2 sources of free radicals. Extrinsic, meaning coming from the outside, and intrinsic, meaning coming from within. Our environment is a steady source of extrinsic oxidative stress on our bodies. Sunlight and other radiation, pollution in the air, toxins in our environment, these can all contribute to free radicals coming from the outside. Smoking is especially damaging. A very interesting scientific paper estimated that the lungs are exposed to up to 1 quadrillion free radicals per breath of a cigarette. Now, internally, we have quite a few free radicals to handle as well. Intrinsic free radicals are produced by sometimes normal and sometimes temporary conditions within the body. It's been estimated that even our own normal metabolism makes a mistake about 10% of the time, producing free radicals. Each of you are producing free radicals and trying to fight against them, even as you listen to this presentation today. Critical functions like eating and breathing even create free radicals that we must manage in order to avoid oxidative stress. So what is the source of these internal free radicals and oxidative stress? Remember we talked about the cell being the basic unit of life? Well, one of the basic needs of life is production of energy. That energy is produced inside an organelle found in every cell in the body, the mitochondria. This is the powerhouse of the cell, but as a result, also a source of free radicals in the cell. Let's think about the mitochondria like a little engine inside of the cell. Although it's a very efficient engine, taking in oxygen and food and turning it into our energy, which is ATP, it still produces some free radicals, about 10% or so of the time, like we said before. Now, let's compare that to a car engine, just for some perspective. It's estimated that a car engine is only about 30% efficient at converting gasoline into energy that moves the car forward. That means 70% of the energy of gasoline is turned into waste in a car engine. Our cells are 90% efficient compared to only 30% efficient from an engine. That's pretty impressive, but it still requires important systems to deal with the free radicals that are generated inside our bodies. The good news is this: nature does not leave us defenseless. One of the protective systems are antioxidants. Maybe you've heard that term before. These are molecules that have just the right structure to be able to directly counteract free radicals. Antioxidants donate their electrons to a free radical, which neutralizes them. The most important part is, though, they don't continue that chain reaction. The antioxidants don't become unstable, so they stop the action of the free radicals. Now, just like free radicals come in intrinsic and extrinsic forms, so do antioxidants. On the right, our body makes antioxidants which reside in the cell to protect it from potential free radical damage. On the left, you see antioxidants you might get in a healthy diet. Now, if I were to ask you, which of these you think is more important, what would you guess? It's actually the external or exogenous antioxidants. Some of you may be surprised about that. Let me briefly explain. Researchers have found that even the best antioxidant systems in our bodies can't make enough internal antioxidants to keep up with all the free radicals day after day. And genetically, sometimes these systems can be far from optimal. So external or exogenous antioxidants from our food are critical to fill in those gaps. Healthy food can also provide essential components the body needs to make these internal antioxidants more effectively. So really, we're getting help in multiple ways. Now that we have the background in aging and oxidation, let's talk about the Lifelong Vitality Program directly and how the amazing LLV products can affect our physiology. The kit consists of 3 products, each with its own purpose. We'll talk about some of the individual components of these products, but it's important to remember that Lifelong Vitality works best when used together. Now, first, the big picture. We wanted to understand a little bit about the value Lifelong Vitality would be providing. So we did a series of tests on the pack to see how it compared to fruits and vegetables. Now, though it wasn't designed to replace a healthy diet, this does give us a point of comparison for its potency. Lifelong Vitality provides the antioxidant capacity of 12 or more servings of fruits or vegetables. This means that you can be very confident in the power and potency that it can give to protect and provide for your antioxidant defenses. To give you an idea of where some of the benefits come from, here is the polyphenol blend in alpha CRS. One of the important principles of lifelong vitality is that it provides things you may not normally eat, but that are really beneficial to how you'll feel over time. We also know that variety is very important, and each ingredient provides a different family of phytochemistry that is of benefit to your body. Finally, we don't skimp on dose. We want to provide enough of the ingredient for it to be beneficial and actually make a difference. Now, we don't stop with just a polyphenol blend. There are other major plant families that contain nutrients very helpful, like the carotenoids. Now, we don't just provide some beta-carotene and tell you that it represents the whole family of carotenoids in nature. We include a wider range of them, as each one functions just a little differently and supports your body in different ways. I want to tell you a little bit about the astaxanthin to illustrate this point. Now, astaxanthin is a carotenoid that you may not be as familiar with, but it comes from green algae. This green algae is grown in carefully controlled containers and then pumped out into the sunlight. Up until that point, the algae is green. Now, note that by keeping the algae confined to the tubes, it doesn't take on environmental contaminants like bacteria or pollutants or other things. Now, under the ultraviolet light of the sun, as a protection mechanism, the algae starts to produce astaxanthin. Astaxanthin is a strong protectant against the high-energy UV rays from the sun. So all the algae are doing is adapting to their new sunlit environment. But it means that they are producing large amounts of this important carotenoid that we're able to use. Here's a comparison view. The red has become so strong you can no longer see the green of the algae. It's kind of the opposite of tree leaves, which are green in the summer from the chlorophyll, and you really only see the reds and yellows in the fall when the chlorophyll breaks down. In the algae, the protective astaxanthin carotenoid has amazing capacity to function as this protection against the UV rays. For our bodies, we want it for some of this same protective capacity. Now, in addition to the carotenoids and polyphenols, lifelong vitality also includes a potent blend of essential oils with strong antioxidant power. This is something that really sets doTERRA apart. We recognize the health value of our oils as a daily supplement against aging in support of general health. These oils in the lifelong vitality are great antioxidants and cellular protectors. Now, we've talked a lot about oxidation and how oxidation and oxidative stress can contribute to aging and how lifelong vitality combats this. Let's focus for a few moments now on inflammation. Remember, inflammation is the other side of this oxidation-inflammation cycle that contributes significantly to aging. What is inflammation? It is a healthy, normal immune response to injury, pathogens, oxidative stress, illness, and other conditions. When the body senses a need, it sends additional blood flow, nutrients, immune cells, and oxygen to the site. This is why inflamed sites are often red and can feel swollen and warm. It's the additional blood flow in the area. I recently cut my finger. After it stopped bleeding and produced a scab, I noticed it was red around the scab and a little raised, like a bump. That's called acute or immediate short-term inflammation. It's totally normal and, in fact, critical for our health when we need it. Acute inflammation goes away after a while when the body no longer needs the extra support in that area. Chronic means it does not go away, or that it affects something more than just a small cut on my finger. Researchers now know that chronic inflammation is at the heart of many debilitating diseases, including cardiovascular disease, diabetes, autoimmune conditions, and even cancer. We want a healthy inflammatory response, one that can quickly respond when we need it, acutely, and just as quickly die down so it doesn't become chronic when we don't need it. Essential fatty acids are a very important part of how our body responds to inflammation. There are many common fats that are consumed in our diets. Unfortunately, many of them come from plants that contain predominantly omega-6 fatty acids. Now, while these fatty acids are essential to our immune system's ability to respond, it tends to be out of balance. And when an inflammatory response is needed and only omega-6 fatty acids are available, the response can be over-inflammatory, and the body may not recover back to normal as quickly as it should. Contrast that with omega-3 fatty acids. They balance out an inflammatory response. And they can also be used by the immune system during an inflammatory event, but the resulting signal molecules carry out the inflammation in a more controlled way, leading eventually to an anti-inflammatory result. Ideally, the amounts you get of each omega-3 and omega-6 should be at a 1-to-1 ratio, so that an inflammatory response uses an equal number of each molecule to respond to the inflammatory event. This results in the best and most balanced outcome. However, a modern diet, particularly with a lot of processed foods, looks more like this. Even a small inflammatory signal can lead to an excessive inflammatory response if you have way more omega-6s in your body when you need to handle some acute inflammation. The essential fatty acids in Lifelong Vitality contain the opposite of the typical diet, restoring balance to the inflammatory responses. This is how our body can fight back against chronic inflammation with the help of Lifelong Vitality. Another important consideration is really the balance of fatty acids themselves within the omega-3 family. We chose a highly purified fish oil concentrate that provides the two most potent essential fatty acids, EPA and DHA, in an equal ratio, 300 milligrams of each per daily dose. This will help keep your body well stocked in the event of an inflammatory action that needs to happen and then needs to stop happening. You'll just feel better over time as your body begins to regain that balance. So, we've talked about how Lifelong Vitality directly combats oxidation through antioxidants and essential oils, and inflammation through the right kinds of fatty acids. Both are countered by the balance and combination of beneficial ingredients included in the Lifelong Vitality pack. So, we have one more important idea to discuss. It's not just about living longer. Lifelong Vitality is about feeling better and more energetic as we do. Let's talk for just a moment about healthy energy production on a cellular level. Recall the discussion about the mitochondria in our bodies that function as tiny engines, producing the energy that drives us. Fundamentally, to feel energy, our body needs to be able to produce ATP efficiently and consistently. We also have to have enough of these engines so that any one of them isn't strained and wears out. When we age, 3 things can happen. Our cells can have fewer mitochondria per cell. This lowers your overall output of energy, and thus the overall sense that you have enough energy to do what you want to do. Second, the existing mitochondria start working less and less efficiently, so you don't turn your food into energy as quickly or as readily as you used to. Third, the exhaust you produce can be more damaging because the internal protection doesn't work as well as it used to. Remember the talk about free radicals? These can start to build up as we age. Lifelong Vitality is designed to target all 3 of these. The Cellular Energy Blend in Alpha CRS stimulates overall cellular health, helping to keep cells and mitochondria going strong. It provides nutrients like coenzyme Q10 and acetyl L-carnitine that are directly involved in the efficiency of the engines. And finally, it directly provides antioxidants like quercetin and alpha-lipoic acid to keep those defenses up against the free radical exhaust from our mitochondrial engines, like we talked about earlier. The result is that you get better biogenesis, better efficiency, and better protection. I almost feel like I'm promoting a fancy new motor oil for your car, but there's nothing synthetic about these great ingredients in these products. I really want you to see that there are real scientific reasons why people feel better and feel more energy when they're taking Lifelong Vitality. We're supporting our cells from the inside so they perform better and work together better. Another way Lifelong Vitality helps you feel natural energy comes from something in the Microplex and Z-Omega. Actually, multiple things. When your body cells have the right tools on hand at any given time, they work better. Because Lifelong Vitality provides all the essential nutrients, cofactors, fatty acids, and more, all the normal metabolic and enzymatic processes in your cells can work at optimum efficiency. Now that brings up a point about Microplex VMz. Some people ask, why doesn't Microplex provide more of this or that mineral? Shouldn't I be getting 1,000% of my vitamin C or D like this other supplement offers? The truth is, Lifelong Vitality was formulated to provide safe, usable amounts of vitamins and minerals rather than mega doses. Not only can enormous doses of vitamins or minerals be harmful, your body simply can't absorb and process too much of them at once. Microplex VMz is designed to be directly aligned with the benefits of Lifelong Vitality. Less pain, more energy, better immunity, improved mood, and so on. Each of the nutrients in there are present at optimal levels in the most bioavailable forms. When I say bioavailable, this means that the body is able to recognize, absorb, and use the vitamin or mineral. In some supplements, they have a vitamin or mineral listed on the label, but it isn't in a form that our bodies can recognize or use, so it's just passed through as waste. We didn't want anything wasted in these precious Lifelong Vitality supplements. Another question, what do we not include in Lifelong Vitality? We do not use sugars or stimulants in our products. Many energy products on the market, or even other supplements, give the body a buzz by using large doses of sugars, stimulants. You might feel like you have more energy in the moment, but in actuality, these ingredients merely offer a temporary, artificial high that can leave you feeling worse after a crash later on. doTERRA does not work that way. We understand our ingredients. We understand how the human body works, and we seek to help the body work better on its own. Not just feel better, but function better and actually produce more sustainable energy naturally. So, big picture. We have generally grouped the botanical extracts into alpha CRS, which is a powerhouse for cellular longevity and cellular energy. Essential fatty acids and essential oils are featured in Z-Omega, providing incredible antioxidant power. Vitamins and minerals are the focus of Microplex VMz, where we can fill in gaps in our diets, support the general health of our bodies, and make sure all the other systems are working optimally. But don't forget, we need all these categories for true optimal health. Now let's come back to where we all began, where it really matters. We have the data to back up our ingredients' safety and efficacy. But what you probably really want to know is, does it work? Well, yes it does. This is what we consistently hear from those who consistently take Lifelong Vitality. I'll add my voice to each of these items on the list. Lifelong Vitality really does affect the focus of the mind, the energy you feel, your quality of sleep, how your immune system works. So, let's all look, feel, and live younger, longer. Together, starting today. Scientifically formulated and research-backed Lifelong Vitality from doTERRA can help you on your way to finding this optimal health. Thank you so much for your time and attention today. I wish you all good health and a lifetime full of vitality.